of Sharia courts, Islamic tribunals, if you will, to take root inside the provincial secular legal system. No other Western jurisdiction has taken this step, but under the 1991 Arbitration Act, Sharia-based marriage, divorce, and family tribunals run by the Islamic Institute of Civil Justice are expected to begin soon. Many Muslim women are outraged, vowing to fight the system they see as having no place in a secular society. Equally upset are those who demand that church and state never be allowed to merge. Supporters say the opposition to Sharia is battling non-existent demons, and given time, the system will complement, not destroy, human rights and freedoms. The debate rages on and continues on this show as well, because joining us today is Javed Mirza, the president of the Hamilton Muslim Association and a supporter of the Sharia courts. Also, Homa Arjuman, the coordinator of the Campaign Against Sharia in Canada, and Sheena Sharp of the Humanist Association of Canada. Sheena, let's begin with you. I always thought there was only one set of laws for all people in this country. How can the province allow another set to apply to a minority who have a different culture and follow another faith?
Well, I think that actually part of the problem here is that the province hasn't particularly done that. And some of the problem is that the Islamic Institute has said that the Sharia court will be mandatory for Muslims and that there is no appeal, when that is not actually the case. And so they are scaring people into believing that something has happened that hasn't. It's their responsibility to come forward and describe the actual law and what the Sharia court, if you will, can do and can't do.
Can I interact on this thing and say a few words on this?
Go ahead.
I find that very difficult. I'm a Muslim, and I find this very difficult to understand what is the major league issue about this Sharia law. This has been in works for quite some time. A lot of the other cultures are using their laws just like the natives are, and some of the Abrahamic religions are using the same rules and regulations that their religion allows them to. So what seems to be the issue with the Muslims? I mean, I don't understand which basis or which point is my colleague is trying to say here.
All right, let's ask Homa. Let me ask Homa. Do you think, why are Muslim women particularly vocal in opposing Sharia?
Well, Sharia is anti-woman.
Why is Sharia anti-woman?
Wait, let her finish, Javed, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, Homa.
Yes, to me, Sharia is anti-woman. I come from Iran, where the Islamic State is there. To me, Sharia considers women second-class citizen, and no matter what, the right is not there. It belongs to 1400 years ago. It's not for 20 or end of 20th century. We have to somehow stop it. We are fighting for separation of religion, especially Sharia court, from our justice system.
Javed, I mean, you must admit that, I'll just get you to respond to that in a second, but you must admit that in some places in the world, Islamic law is probably not the way that you see it, and it's not performed that way. It's probably anti-women in some places. Certainly the Taliban were not pro-women. So I mean, you can understand their nervousness, their anxiety about this.
Valid point. But you see, in this system here, we have two systems here. If you're not satisfied with the Sharia law, you can always opt out and go into the provincial law that is in place. Nobody's holding or asking people to follow the Sharia law or follow we have a civil court here that anybody can use. This is your choice and your option. So by Homa saying that the Sharia law is anti-woman, I think because of maybe the culture that she is from, maybe the way those men treated her or treated those people, but that's not what the Islam is. That's not what the religion is. Religion is clearly simple about the whole issue. But in Homa's case, it's very simple, and all the other women, it is very simple. My sister, let me just finish. It is very simple for each and every one of cases. I'll give you a simple little example. If you're not satisfied with a store where you go and buy your products, you don't need to go to that store. You can go to a different store.
I'm sorry, you cannot consider women's issue as a store and shopping item. I'm sorry,
let Homa go ahead. Go ahead.
Let him talk. No, I'm sorry.
Let me finish
No,
first, please.
No, wait, Javed.
It's about time we should speak up. Women's issues is not the shop, and we're talking about the real issue. We're talking about the life of this woman. The safety of this woman is in jeopardized. We're not talking about maybe something has happened to Homa. Nothing has happened to Homa. It happens to all these women living under Sharia code in Pakistan, in Iran, in Afghanistan.
Right.
Could I make an analogy here?
Ask a question here,
Okay, let Sheena get in there. Let Sheena get in there.
Okay, Javed, just a second, please. Everyone's got their ear pieces in. Let's try not to step on each other. I know it's emotional. I want to ask Sheena a question. Does one law supersede the other in Ontario? Javed alluded to the point that if you don't like it, you can go to the provincial law. Is that the case?
I think the point is that choice is immaterial if you don't have opportunity to go somewhere else. If you are stuck in a family situation where you don't have money and you don't have support and you don't speak the language that most people speak in the country that you live in, it is difficult to do. Therefore, choice becomes immaterial. I mean, I think if you look at, I want to be very careful here to make sure that I'm not saying that all Muslim men are bad or all Muslim men beat their wives, because I know for a fact that's not even close to being true. But if you look at Canadian laws, you look at where we have come from and the problems that we have had with wife beating and child beating and how we dealt with them, effectively our laws let people hide. And we have to make sure that people can't hide, that women and children have choices and can get out of the situations if they need to.
Does that make sense to you, Javed?
No, it absolutely does not. Because
Why?
in Islam, it's very, very simple. You are not entitled to beat up your wife or your children, any of this stuff. So I don't know where she's coming up with this idea or philosophy. I mean, this is just this Islamophobia all of a sudden is coming about. I mean, you know, the natives have a right.
Do not name us Islamophobia. My mother is Muslim and I respect her
I am
so
a Muslim. I am, and I'm humbly say that I am a Muslim, and till the day I die, I will be a Muslim. And I have it very simple. The process is very simple. If you are not satisfied with that system, go with the other system. But I mean, you are speaking in behalf of. I'm not understanding it at all. I mean,
you know,
I'm
women have no right to use other system. Let me explain. A woman who grew up in Canada, by age of 13 or 14, was forced to get married to a man 10 years older than him, 10 years older than her. For obviously she does not know her right, and when she was pushed to practice Islam right from the beginning, from the age of 5 or 6, and she was not able to integrate within the Canadian system, obviously she does not know there is another system would protect her rights. That's one place, and the other place is if she chose to go to Canadian court system, she'd be disowned by her own family, she'd be disowned by her own brother and sisters and community, and therefore she has to face isolation. We are asking the government, no matter what happened, do not allow any arbitrators, according to any type of religion, to resolve their family disputes.
Okay.
This is unbelievable.
Okay, we've run out of time. I'm sorry, Javed, we are out of time.
I just wanted
I'm sorry, Javed. We're out of time, and I understand you've made your points, and I want to thank you. I want to thank Homa as well, and Sheena Sharp. Very emotionally charged issue, certainly issues that we're not that familiar with in the secular society, and I'm sure we'll talk about this again. I want to thank you all for your time today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cookville reports. As a survivor of persecution in Iran and a women's rights activist, Homa Arjaman says this civic courthouse has special meaning for her and the women she helps.
I'm happy for them. They're going through this secular court system because they're gaining whatever the Canadian women have gained for the past 50 years.
She says the move to bring Sharia law to Ontario could take back those gains.
We believe that this is against women's rights.
Sharia law is based on Islamic teachings and governs issues such as marriage, divorce, and child custody, issues that some Muslim women and men say belong in Canadian courts. Tariq Fatah heads the Muslim Canadian Congress.
This is a backdoor entry for political Muslim fundamentalists.
Fatah is petitioning the province to stop considering the use of Sharia law in the Muslim community here and wants it to take the issue to the Ontario Court of Appeal. The door to Sharia law here opened in 1991. Amendments to the Arbitration Act hope to clear the backlog in the courts. It also cleared the way for individual groups to arbitrate among themselves.
The Supreme Court has
High-profile constitutional lawyer Rocco Galati is representing the Congress.
The Arbitration Act was never meant to arbitrate human and civil rights, and certainly not the rights of children. And so we're grafting an act that was meant to settle monetary disputes, and the government purports now that it can be used for an adjudication of all human rights and family rights that are of public importance. My client disagrees.
The man pushing to bring Sharia law to Canada wouldn't comment today on the opposition to his plans, but in an interview on The National earlier this year, he said Sharia law shouldn't be feared.
Don't blame the law. Don't blame the law. Blame the Muslims, the followers of Islam, who are doing certain things. If they are doing certain things which go to the extreme, well, it is the fault of the Muslim population.
The province says it is still considering all aspects of this emotional debate. It's expected to make a decision on the issue in the fall. But women such as Homa Arjaman say they don't plan to wait that long. They've scheduled several international protests for September the 8th. Neil Kirksal, CBC News, Toronto.